Welcome back to Andersen Acres. Today we're tackling one of the biggest questions miniature horse drivers have. Which driving class is the right fit for you and your horse? If you've been watching the first two videos in this series, you already know the basics of driving and how to present yourself in the show ring. But when it comes to actually entering a competition, you'll see there are several different types of driving classes, and each one is looking for something different. The way your horse moves and their temperament, their training, and even your own style as a driver can all influence which division is the best match. Entering the right class can set you and your horses up for success, while entering the wrong one can make things a lot harder than they need to be. So let's break down each division, what the judges are looking for, and what your horse needs to be able to do, and how to decide where you belong. In the miniature horse show world, there are three major pleasure driving divisions, recognized by both AMHA, the American Miniature Horse Association, and AMHR, the American Miniature Horse Registry. So you have single pleasure driving in AMHA, or just pleasure driving in AMHR. You have country pleasure driving, and then you have classic pleasure driving, or in AMHA, or known as Western Country pleasure driving in AMHR. Each division has its own expectations for movement, frame, and overall presentation. You can't cross-enter between these divisions at the same show, but you can enter a pleasure division and also enter a roadster class in the same show if your horse is suited for both. Now, before we go into the details of each one, remember this. Judges are not just looking for a beautiful horse. They're looking for a horse that matches the standard of the class they're in. A gorgeous mover who's in the wrong class will still be at a disadvantage. So let's start with the single most demanding of the three. Single pleasure driving in AMHA, also known as pleasure driving in AMHR. So this division is for the most elevated, collected, and animated horses. They have to have some skill for this one, a lot of skill. These are the athletes of the driving world. They're brilliant movers with the strength and stamina to maintain a high level of performance throughout the class. The frame in single pleasure is upright and engaged. The horse should carry most of their weight on their hind quarters, with light expressive movement in the front legs. The stride is high but controlled, with energy coming from behind. Now, the gaits and requirements for this class, AMHA calls for a collected trot, a working trot, and a walk. AMHR asks you for an extended trot in place of collected, plus the pleasure trot and the walk, and backing. In either case, your horse will be expected to rein back when asked. Okay? If you're not sure what the show you're going to requires, make sure you get a copy of the rule book beforehand so you can practice. Now, the judges are looking for powerful impulsion from the hind end. They also want consistency in frame and gait transitions. Energy without tension is very attractive here. Your horse should be animated but still obedient, and there needs to be a balance between brilliance and control. If your horse naturally has elevated movement and strong engagement from behind and the stamina to sustain it all, single pleasure might be your best fit. But keep in mind, few horses truly have the talent and conditioning to be competitive in this class, especially at more elite levels. It takes time, conditioning, and precise training. So it's okay to say this class isn't for you, at least not yet. Next up is country pleasure driving. This is a slightly more relaxed style that still demands elegance and balance. Country pleasure horses don't require the same extreme elevation and collection as single pleasure horses, but they still need to be forward, balanced, and expressive in their movement. Now, the horse works in a consistent frame when he's in this class with the hocks well underneath the body. The head and neck are carried in a natural, relaxed position without the high elevation seen in single pleasure. And the stride should be free-flowing and balanced with a softness in the way the horse moves. Now, for gaits and requirements, well, AMHA is going to call for a pleasure trot, a working trot, and a walk, while AMHR uses country pleasure trot, working trot, and walk. You'll also have to be able to rein back when asked. That can be tricky. Practice. So the judges are looking for a smooth and consistent pace, a relaxed but attentive demeanor, and they're looking for a clear difference between the different gaits. Your working trot should be more forward than your pleasure trot, but without becoming rushed. They should be able to tell the difference, and nothing should look strained or rushed. And there definitely needs to be a willingness to stand quietly in the lineup because you're going to be lining up. If your horse moves nicely, but doesn't have the extreme elevation for single pleasure, country pleasure can be a perfect fit. It rewards a natural, balanced way of going with a touch of elegance. So finally, we have classic pleasure driving in AMHA or Western country pleasure driving in AMHR. They're roughly the same thing, but they're just called different things in different associations. This is the most relaxed of the three divisions. So these horses carry their head and neck in a more level, natural frame with a longer, lower stride. The emphasis is on smooth, ground-covering movement with consistent contact and forward motion, but without the high knee action or intense collection of the other divisions. For gaits, you're looking at the pleasure trot, the working trot, and the walk for both divisions, but AMHR is also going to call for an extended trot. And again, you're going to have to rein back when requested. So the judges are going to be looking for relaxation and steadiness throughout the class, long sweeping strides with a natural head carriage, and manners are especially important. These horses should be a joy to drive. They should respond well. They shouldn't be ornery. Okay? They should be relaxed, and so should you. If your horse is more laid back with a long, easy stride and a calm temperament, classic or Western country pleasure is often the best choice. It's a great fit for horses who can go all day without getting tense, and it's a division where presentation and manners can really shine. Choosing the right class isn't just about your horse's movement. It's about matching their natural abilities to the demands of the division you're talking about. So here's a quick way to think about it. If your horse is high energy, has an elevated stride, and has powerful engagement, single pleasure. If your horse is balanced forward but a little less extreme, country pleasure. And if your horse is really relaxed, long in the stride, and has a calm temperament, classic or Western country pleasure is definitely going to be for you. When in doubt, watch the classes at a show before you enter. Seeing the standard in action can make the differences much clearer than reading a rule book or watching a YouTube video. Go there in person, take a look, see how the horses move. And if your horse is somewhere in between, consider working with a trainer or an experienced driver to help evaluate which class will give you the best chance of success. So, there you have it. A fairly in-depth look at the three main pleasure driving divisions for miniature horses and how to figure out which one might be the best match for your mini. In our next video, we'll take a closer look at the roadster class and the driving obstacle class. Two divisions that are completely different from pleasure driving, but just as fun and exciting. That's about it for us here today at Andersen Acres. If you've shown in any of these divisions, I'd love to hear which one you prefer and why. Drop your comment below. We'll see you tomorrow.